Code Orange is a punk metal band, and this latest album of theirs, Underneath, is the first full record of theirs I've actually heard. You know, I gotta say, this record is pretty worth the hype it's been getting. This thing has been getting support all around, and it really deserves all of it. This album is a very forward-thinking and beautifully haunting metal project, and it was a pleasure to discover. The songwriting throughout the entire album is attention-grabbing and unique, and I was never bored throughout any listen. The writing itself is very dark pretty frequently, and even chilling and horror-like in quite a few spots. Another fantastic thing that this album keeps up is the flow and transition of tracks. Each song goes right into the next in a seamless way, and the cohesion and flow is pretty on point as well. The band keeps a consistent yet morphing track list that keeps the album refreshing, with changes in sound, or just doing something new and satisfying with the sound they've already utilized. It opens with a chilling intro deeper than before. This isn't really a song, it mostly serves as an introduction. It starts out as a chilling and haunting ambience, but quickly jerks your attention with a terrifying blast of noise, and this always gets me super excited to listen to this album. It feels like the part of a roller coaster where you're going up and you're waiting and waiting for the drop that starts the ride, with the feeling of anticipation and excitement taking up more of your mind than anything else. The first song on this album, Swallowing the Rabbit Whole, pays off for this anticipated feeling with a wildly powerful and energetic track. This song sets the mood for the entire record in a really effective way. I love how this track starts, as well as the much more heavy part that it jumps into almost without hesitation. This is a pretty great tone setter for this record. In Fear has some great electronic breakdowns throughout it, and some great vocals across the board. I also love the percussion in the chorus of You and You Alone. It's great throughout this record, but it shined here most for being attention-grabbing and unique, at least for me personally. The song Who I Am is easily one of my favorites here. The lyrics are pretty fantastic, and the vocals here sound really good. I enjoy the screams on this record, of course, but I think it truly shines in its clean singing sections. Some fantastic instrumentation is here as well, especially in the guitars. Cold Metal places another blast of heavy energy that actually really grew on me with repeated listens of this album as a whole. I wasn't the biggest fan of it at first, but every listen has made me like it more and more. I like the screams here even more than most other points on this album, and the instrumental feels unique and interesting. The track also features some pretty great guitar and drum breakdowns. My favorite song on the record is easily Sulfur Surrounding, though. There are just so many great aspects of this track that keep me coming back. The vocal performance here is absolutely killer, and the instrumentation backs it in an amazing way. I also love the dark tone that the entire song takes. The Easy Way is a fantastic heavier track with some more great lyricism as well. Not really much to say about this track that hasn't already been said, it just shows the band's overflowing creativity once again. The middle section of this album is probably the most solid leg of the whole thing, and this track brings it up to that. This great streak doesn't mean there won't be more forgettable moments here though. Erasure Scan, while still being enjoyable and interesting, is probably one of the less memorable moments on the album. There's still some pretty interesting guitar work going on here though, definitely don't ignore this track. It's just not as out of the park as some earlier tracks. The same is true for the following song, Last Ones Left. I don't want to call this song generic because there's still so many interesting things being done here, and the chorus is still pretty punchy and powerful. Autumn and Carbine brings the album back to its absolute best. The guitars and drums here shine very well, and the song goes into a fantastic instrumental segment after the first chorus. Back Inside the Glass does just feel like another fast track just for the sake of it though, but this is probably the last instance of that trope on this album. A Silver starts as an almost calmer track before quickly transforming into an energetic and passionate metal cut. It also ends fantastically. The very tail end of this track highlights this huge bass drum just booming, which transitions into the amazing title track and closer of this album. This song pretty much goes through every sound that this album has used and brings them together in a satisfying and climactic way. Underneath is very easily deserving of being the title track, and it just so happens that it's a fantastic closer as well. It wraps the album up in a way that makes it feel complete, and yet you still want to hear more. Right when this track wraps up, I just want to rewind and replay the entire album. This album was pretty fantastic overall. While it did have some less unique tracks, there isn't a single one that I would consider unenjoyable or bad. I brought up the word haunting quite a bit in this review. This album definitely gives off that vibe more than anything. It's a very dark record, both in lyrics and general tone. It does a great job of keeping this tone without wearing it out or making the listener get tired of it. This album is super forward-thinking and unique as well, and I know I've said that a lot, but it's really true. This isn't just another metal album. This thing feels super different and does a lot of unique things with its sounds. This was a pretty enjoyable album and definitely a great introduction into Code Orange. Definitely recommend this to anybody who's into the metal scene, as well as anybody who wants a satisfying and enjoyable introduction to this genre. I'm feeling a pretty strong 8 on this album. Hey, thanks for watching my review. What did you think of this album? Remember, just because your opinion is different than mine doesn't make it any less or more valid. It's just my take. What's yours? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!